Hi everyone, it's Debbie Pebble here with a video on Fossil Cup. Now, Fossil Cup has been out since I think Wednesday, and now it's into the weekend. So we've got a bit of play into Fossil Cup. I want to thank Sammy P for recommending his team with a Shadow Steelix, a Golisopod, and a Jellicent that we've been running moderately successfully in the Fossil Cup. Now, if you're new to the channel, please drop a like, a subscribe, and a comment. I'd greatly appreciate it as we grow the channel and hoping to get that 1,000 subscriber mark at the end of the year. But let's get into the battles here and get into the team. So the Shadow Steelix is running a Thunderfang, which has been really great against all the water types in Fossil Cup. Psychic Fangs also having that debuff is really helpful, and Crunch as well. Now Crunch has dropped its percentage from 30% to 20% of getting a debuff, so it hasn't been favorable on my side. I'm unlucky. That's pretty much it. With Jellicent, we are running Hex, Shadow Ball, and Surf, which is, you know, the solid moveset for Jellicent. And Golisopod, we're running Shadow Claw instead of Fury Cutter here, and Aqua Jet and X Scissor. Now, the goal of this team is to try and avoid or try and draw out the grass types as soon as possible. So, yeah, if you see a Ferrothorn, it is a bit difficult. A Credilli is a bit difficult, but there's ways to work around it. With like Lantern in the back, that's really harsh, especially when we're running double water in the back. All right, into game one, and again, we're against the Ferrothorn. So the Ferrothorn in this case, we just want to probably soft lose in this situation. They will always go for a Power Whip first before we get to the Crunch, because they do outpace us. It does take almost half health, but the Crunch is a more hard-hitting move. I feel like if you were really low on HP, you would throw the Psychic Fangs, and now that they are also on half health, they'll go for another Power Whip here, and here we decide to shield because we're like, look, you know, we still got quite a bit of energy on this Shadow Steelix, and go for the next Crunch. This Crunch hopefully will connect, and even if it doesn't, it does mean that they use a shield, and it does connect. It means that, and also we get that 20% drop, which is fantastic. It means that we could Thunderfang down, which is huge in this case. They bring out the Golisopod. Again, we are using Thunderfang, which is super effective against Golisopod. I decided to go for a Psychic Fangs here to just get that defense down, because I didn't know if they will farm us down or they'll throw their Aqua Jet. In this case, they try to farm us down but didn't quite get there, so it means it's a double KO. They bring out their Jellicent, and I was like, oh, what do I bring here? I bring out my respective Jellicent. Now we're one shield down. They still have two shields in play, but we've got that Golisopod with full health in the back. And here we're going for a bait here. I was like, oh, maybe they'll bait. They did bait. We did shield, but that's okay. We can still tank a Shadow Ball. We go for the bait as well. They decide to shield, so then they still have one shield left. We're going to go for the Shadow Ball. We go for another bait. I'm not sure if we get knocked out here. It looks pretty like unsafe, and we do get knocked out of this Jellicent. The Golisopod now comes in with super effective fast attacks with the Shadow Claw, so it is going to add up against this Jellicent. We go for the Aqua Jet here. They decide to use their final shield, and we are now able to, you know, we have no shields remaining, but we've got so much health that this Shadow Ball will connect. However, we've still got so much health, and we get to the next Aqua Jet that will comfortably take out this Jellicent. Into the next battle, we're up against a Poliwrath. This is not what we want to see. These fast attacks are going to do so much damage. We straight go into our Jellicent, and we met with a Lantern. Yikes, we are not in a comfortable spot here. So I decided to go, let's go Shadow Ball. Let's just try and hit hard against the Lantern. They use their first Protect Shield, which is excellent. So they're one shield down. If they Thunderbolt us here, we are out. And they decide to Surf. They went for the bait instead. We go for our next Shadow Ball, and again, hoping it connects. We're just trying to do as much damage to this Lantern. We've got, like, you know, two water types here. We want to try and get this Lantern out of the way. I think this is almost Surf range at this point, so they could go for the Surf. The Surf does connect, but it doesn't take it out. We can actually get to our Surf against this Lantern, and this will actually connect, and it will bring it into the red. However, it means that we can actually fast attack down and grab some energy ahead. So I bring out the Golisopod and try and Shadow Claw down. The Lantern's out of the way. Fantastic. We bring out the Poliwrath here, and I was like, oh, does it? Do we use Aqua Jet or the X Scissor here? I went for the Aqua Jet. It's not very effective, which is probably the not correct choice here. I think X Scissor is a little bit better. I will have to double check that. And we decided to shield this Icy Wind, even though it is not super effective, but I was like, look, let's just save shields for Golisopod. I think the main thing, if you want to take away from this video, is shield the Golisopod. The Golisopod's really safe in this cup. And here they can get to the last Icy Wind. This Icy Wind connects and we actually survive and we get to the Aqua Jet, which is going to land on this Excavalier. They decide to not shield. They still have one shield remaining, and then we have our Shadow Steelix. We have one shield, they have one shield. We're going to go for Psychic Fangs because I want that defense down. Maybe we can Thunder Fang down at this point because we both have respective shields. They shield that Psychic Fangs. We shield on their Acid Spray. Oh my gosh, there's so many people that Acid Spray in this game. But both our defenses have dropped, but I've got more HP, therefore take the win. Into the next one here, we see an Azumarill. Azumarill not what we want to see. However, these Thunder Fangs do add up against Azumarill. So I decided to go, look, let's throw our Psychic Fangs, get the defense down on the little bunny because we know it's so tanky. They actually shield, which is really interesting on the Psychic Fangs. We go for the Jellicent. So this Ice Beam will connect, but it does little damage here. They go straight into the Lantern. It's kind of what we expect. We want to draw out the Lantern because we don't want to see it in the back later. And now we go for our Shadow Ball play where we just try and get as much damage possible. There are no shields in the opponent's side at this point, so we're looking pretty good. Even if they Thunderbolt us here, we're really comfortable. They Surf again. I feel like all the Lanterners decide to go for that cheeky Surf instead of going for the Thunderbolt. In this particular cup, we go for a Shadow Ball, bringing it down into the yellow, and now they have to go for the next Surf. At least a Surf here would comfortably take out this Jellicent, and now we can bring either Pokemon back in. I go for the Steelix because I'm like, look, let's just Thunder Fang down here. I don't think it was Water Gun on their particular fast attack, so we're actually really comfortable here. Take out the Lantern, and now they can bring the Azumarill out again. We're so close to another Psychic Fangs, and they switch into their Basti, and I'm like, oh gosh, a Basti. It's going to be uphill with a Basti, but we bring out the Golisopod, and they have no shields in place, so we just got to Aqua Jet down. These Smackdowns are doing so much to this Golisopod, however, so it is a bit of a tough spot, but you can see how much damage this Aqua Jet does to the Basti. They're going to go for most likely a Stone Edge. We've got two shields. We've got shields for days in this particular match, and we can go for the next Aqua Jet. I was kind of like just watching if they were going to go for a catch, hence why I went a little bit over in the Aqua Jet, but they decided not to. And now we've got this Azumarill back in play. We've got another Aqua Jet ready, and we still have another Pokemon in the back with a little bit of health on that Steelix that we can Thunder Fang down. So even from here, I decided not to shield because I'm like, look, you know what? You can take out my Golisopod. That's okay. We can Thunder Fang here all the way down. I trust that, you know, a Shadow Steelix can hold on. On to the next match, and we've got a Kingdra. So Kingdra's Dragon Breaths are going to be very oppressive. So I'm like, look, let's Psychic Fangs here, try and get it down. These Thunder Fangs are going to be neutral because of that dragon typing as well. So it is going to add up. You can see as soon as we put the Thunder Fang in, we can see like the fast attacks are getting more and more, chipping it away. The Octazooka, we decide to shield because, you know, Octazooka sucks. It is not great against our Steelix here. So, but our defense has fallen. That is okay with Psychic Fangs again. It does connect, and we should be able to hopefully just fast attack down. They do get to the next Octazooka, and you know what? I'm like, I'm just going to let this Steelix go. Steelix has done its job. Thank you very much. But it survives, which is awesome. I didn't think that Steelix was so bulky in the shadow form, but hey, does pretty well here. We can now go for the... Now there's a Magcargo. Magcargo is an interesting one to bring into this particular cup because there's so many water types. But I think if you land it in the right spot, it's pretty good. Now we've got two Pokemon that can take out that Magcargo, and they bring now a Samurott. Samurott obviously now having... particular buffed moves. It has gone up in the PvP poker rankings rather. Mega Horn hurts so much though. I didn't realize the Mega Horn would do so much damage to our Golisopod, and I go for the X's that they decide to shield. It would look like Golisopod's going here. I can't even get to the next move because the Fury Cutters do add up. But we have our Jellicent, and we know Jellicent is super bulky. I have one shield remaining. I'm going to use it here because I was like, oh, I'm a bit scared. They go for Liquidation. They have Liquidation, and they have the Mega Horn. They don't even have Hydro Cannon on this one here, but the Shadow Ball connects. They have the remaining Pokemon. I have that Magcargo. We can go for a Surf, and this is going to be super effective against the Magcargo. Again, Magcargo is probably something that I wouldn't be bringing into Fossil Cup. It's just going to be so vulnerable with all the water types. Next match here, we've got a Jellicent. Now, Jellicent, usually we would be a bit scared, but because of the Thunder Fang damage, it does quite add up. Now, with the Shadow Balls, it does do a bit of damage to the Steelix, so we decide, oh, actually they decide to go for a surf instead, but we go for the crunch. The crunch will be super effective against this Jellicent. So we'll see if they decide to shield here. They do shield. We don't get the debuff, but again, the Thunder Fangs do add up. Here, I decide to shield and be like, look, okay, let's shield and just try and do a bit more damage because the Jellicent is still quite in the range. I wasn't sure if Psychic Fangs was be able to take it out from that range, so we go for the crunch. The crunch doesn't connect, so it means that 2 shields down. Steelix has done its job, and they're on such little health left that they threw, and we can just fast attack down with whatever we decide to bring out here. I bring out my respective Jellicent, so we hex down. We're in a energy lead. It's a Ferrothorn, but there's no shields in play, which is actually a really good spot for us. We can take 1 Power Whip. We can't take 2, but we can try. Oh, they go for an Acid Spray. I'm so glad I didn't shield there. And we can go for the Shadow Ball. 2 Shadow Balls and a bit of a fast attack down can take out the Ferrothorn in this matchup. So we decide to do that. We're going for the next Shadow Ball. They go for the Power Whip here. And I'm so hoping that we don't get taken out. We do get taken out, which I was like, ugh, yikes. But then we're against a Marwile in the back. This is a Shadow Marwile, and Shadow Marwile is a little bit on the glassier side of things, so they really do need shields if they bring out a Marwile, because honestly, we can pretty much almost close to fast attack down at this point. They go for a Power Up Punch. I decided to shield anyway because I was like, look, what I'm going to save that shield for, because we know that we are able to get a lot of energy here. We actually go for the Aqua Jet instead of the X Scissor here. I think the X Scissor would have taken it out, so that was a misplay on my part, but we do manage to take out the Ferrothorn. Alrighty, into this matchup again, we've got a Kingdra lead, which has been really interesting when it was back to back in this particular set. Again, we're going to go with the same play. We're going to Psychic Fangs here to get that defense down before they get to their Octazooka, or Outrage, or whatever dragon move they choose to. We decide to shield here because I'm like, look, we're pretty close to the next move. It goes for an Outrage, which is a super heavy move to use, so they used up pretty much all their energy here. We go for another Psychic Fangs. That uses shield, but we're going to be able to Thunder Fang down here, so that's a lot of energy on their side going down. Respective shields are down. The Ferrothorn comes out. I'm like, all right, let's Psychic Fangs, get that defense down, because we know in the back that the Jellicent can take it comfortably if we're able to just get it chipped down a little bit faster. Here they go for that, probably the Power Whip, and we were like, thank you Steelix, you've done your job. Bring out the Jellicent again here. They now switch into the Mechtavius, which is really interesting, going, okay, maybe they thought going, well, this Jellicent's going to take it out, but Jellicent is super strong. Look, it's a surf and it takes out the Mechtavius. They used the Mechtavius as a shield, honestly, in this particular situation. Now the Ferrothorn can go for that Power Whip. Decide to shield, going, look, usually I like to save shields for the Golisopod, but in this case, this Ferrothorn is on such like the HP is like already chipped down. Let's get this going. And they just decide not to shield the Shadow Ball, which is really interesting. They had a shield remaining. Maybe they thought I was going to bait, which I didn't. And then the Power Whip goes through and we can hex down here. They have a shield remaining. On to the next one here. Again, we've got that Ferrothorn lead. There is a lot of Ferrothorns in Fossil Cup. Again, as we saw previously in the earlier sets, we are going to let this Power Whip go and then get to the crunch and then throw out the crunch when we get it. When in this kind of situation, 2 crunches and a farm down should be okay. We try and get that defense drop, but 20%, again, it's not even a coin flip. It's not even 50%, it's 20%. So it's really difficult to get there. We shield in this particular one here. Again, very repetitive from earlier. And now we go for that crunch. Now they may shield, they may not. If they shield, it's great. If they don't shield, it's okay as well. They decide to shield, so it's now respective shields down. This Power Whip, I believe I will just kind of let it go. Again, we know that the Jellicent is pretty comfortable in this situation now, so we can bring that out. Probably not hex down. We might have to surf, but we'll, I think Golisopod is also a good choice to be in this situation because Golisopod does quite well. I decided to go for a surf. It is cap in this situation, so they will Power Whip us here. So I think in future, maybe I'll go Golisopod next time. And this surf will probably connect and they'll let their Ferrothorn go. So now they can bring their own respective Jellicent. So I'm trying my best to get to that Shadow Ball. We make it to the Shadow Ball and they do have shields remaining, and we'll see if they decide to shield. They don't, so it means that so much damage is done on that Jellicent that I can farm up with my Golisopod against this Gastrodon. Now Mud Boys are a little bit difficult with our team, but because this one's in the back and we've got a bit of an energy lead, it means we can Aqua Jet pretty comfortably. We do have one shield remaining, so I decide to shield here, whether it's a body slam, whether it's an earth power. I want to save as much HP as I can on the Golisopod. I'm actually trying to get to double Aqua Jet here. I wasn't sure if I'd get there, so I'm like, look, I'm just going to throw here and see how I go, if I can get to the next one. And I do make it, so then I can take this Gastrodon out comfortably. And yeah, the scary mud boy is gone. All right, and here again, like I said, mud boys are a little bit difficult. We've got a Quagsire. I go straight into Jellicent, and we know that Quagsire is in the back now. They bring out a Credilli. Now, most Credilli users tend to go for the Rock Tomb first over a Grass Knot. So that's kind of like the vibe I've been getting. So I've decided to not shield in this situation, hoping it's a Rock Tomb. It is a Rock Tomb, which is a less hard-hitting attack. Our attack does fall, however, that's okay if we can try and just basically try and chip away this Credilli as much as possible. Our team is really in a tough situation with that Mud Boy, Quagsire lead, and this Credilli in as a safe swap. They Rock Tomb us again, however, we don't quite we didn't get knocked out. It means that they get a little bit of more fast attack damage, more energy on their part. I kind of like, what do I do here? I go for the Steelix because I was like, look, at least these their fast attacks aren't going to be like too harsh on the Steelix, so that's good. They decide to Rock Tomb, not very effective on our Steelix, which is great. At this point, I'm like, why not Grass Knot? Why not Grass Knot? But they keep throwing the Rock Tombs, maybe because I haven't used a shield yet. We go for a Psychic Fangs to just try the Thunder Fang down, and in this situation, I'm like, no, I think they just only have Rock Tomb. Maybe it's a single move. I'm not too sure. No, it was a Grass Knot. I was incorrect. They decided to use it at the last second. Quagsire now comes out, and I believe it's a Shadow Quagsire. So by bringing out Psychic Fangs, we are reducing their defense. We can bring out our Golisopod, and they bring out the Togedemaru. Togedemaru, it does have a lot of whether it's Wild Charge or Discharge, the Thunder Shocks, they're going to be super effective against our Golisopod. So it's actually going to be a bit difficult. They go for the Fell Stinger instead, so the attack has now risen. I decided to go, look, let's just do as much spammy Aqua Jet damage as possible to this Togedemaru, because Togedemaru is a little bit on the glacier side of things, but if it runs away, it runs away really well. It wild charges here, so, and we shield, but we do have a little bit of energy here, so unfortunately, Golisopod is going to go down to this Mud Bomb, but no, it doesn't actually. Hold on, I thought it might have been a Stone Edge. It didn't quite get there for them, and now we can get to this Aqua Jet, and this Aqua Jet will connect with the Quagsire. It has, the debuff has been reset, so it is no longer debuffed, but they can go for the next Mud Bomb. The Mud Bomb will connect onto the Steelix, but we've switched away, so this Golisopod can clean up over here. Last one we have is a Swampert. Now again, Mud Boy is not a good situation for our Shadow Steelix, so we go straight into our Jellicent as our safe swap. They build up a bit of energy, so they're probably like already having a Hydro Cannon ready, but now they bring out their Sizor. Sizor isn't Shadow in this case. Sizor has risen up in the PvP Poke rankings and really good in this delightful days season, so it's pretty cool to see a new Pokemon out there. I forgot that it has Night Slash. Night Slash is super effective against our Jellicent. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot it has that move. I kept thinking it had Iron Head and that was it, but it does have Night Slash. It didn't get the boost, thankfully, and in this situation I was like, you know what, Jellicent's done his job. It's absorbed a lot of their attacks. We've got 2 shields still in play and 2 full health Pokemon. We Thunder Fang down the Sizor, and now they bring back their Swampert. Again, this is a poor situation for Steelix, but we are a shield ahead. They go for the Hydro Cannon. We're not quite all the way knocked out, but we do get to the Psychic Fangs to try and reduce their defense rate. So this will connect, and now we go for the Golisopod because the Hydro Cannons won't be as hard hitting as it was on the Steelix, and we still have 1 shield remaining. And they actually bring in their Whiscash, so they've got double Mud Boys in the back. So I'm like, okay, right, we need to save this Golisopod. The Golisopod is the key to winning here. We do have 2 shields. I decided to use 1 shield here. I don't think it's a Blizzard, but it's definitely a Mud Bomb. It probably wouldn't have taken us out, but I want as much HP as possible. What I'm going to do with my shields, I have to use them at some point. We go for the next Aqua Jet and a little bit, and this will not connect because they use their last shield. Again, another Mud Bomb here, so we decide to shield and basically try and bank as much as we can of this energy. I know they still have that Swampert in the back. I'm just trying to get as much energy as possible. I really should know my counts better, but I was like, okay, if I go a little bit over, I should be okay. And now we're already halfway to the Aqua Jet. We get to the Aqua Jet, able to connect onto this Swampert and take this Swampert out. So again, Mud Boys are really, really difficult, and it really does require a little bit more of a knowing your accounts and knowing how to manage in that particular situation. So I hope you enjoyed the battles of Fossil Cup. Let me know what you are bringing into Fossil Cup. Let me know if you've seen this team also in Fossil Cup. And again, if feel free to drop a comment and let me know how you're going with it. Again, thank you to our Patreons as well. They will be scrolling up here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.